Good morning, San Francisco.
And welcome back to the ClockWork Pod. We're your hosts, Addie and
Victor. And today we're going to talk to you about something that's been on our minds as of recently as college students.
And that would be time management.
While time management is something that we all use in our daily lives, I feel like there's certain topics not talked about nearly enough in our lives today.
So today we're going to be going in depth about how time management is applicable in our lives and get some other opinions with other college students as well, like Ben Halverson and other guest Caleb Blasingame.
All right, to start this off, I'll talk about me personally and how I use time management. Now, I will admit, I am not the best with time management, but I'm getting better with time. A little pun there. But, anywho, it's about setting your priorities straight for me. For instance, video games. That shouldn't take high of a priority on my list. But the first couple weeks of school, that was my number one priority. And I will sadly admit that it has screwed me over heavily. When I say I've pulled multiple all-nighters playing NBA 2K24, I mean I have clocked in at least 30 hours of that game within a span of 3 days.
30 hours in the span of 3 days. Wow, and that's as a college freshman, right?
As a college freshman.
That is, as freshmen, I feel like we should not be doing that, even though we were used to doing that back home in like high school and with other chances.
I agree. And even in high school, I just went independently power hungry, being alone without any supervision.
I feel like we all did in our own aspects. Yours was video games. Mine was going for late night drives when I should have been getting sleep, but it's fine.
It is fine. You know what? We thug it out. All right. And also some advice to freshmen. Don't buy C4s. They're extremely bad for you and they will keep you up. Right, Benjamin?
Agreed. C4s have way too much energy in them. If you drink one after 8 p.m. or so, do not expect to sleep that night.
Anyways, I feel like since we're talking about time management, we should get back to talking about time management to truly prioritize our time right now,
Absolutely.
Currently.
So what is time management? Well, to me, time management is being able to get the most out of your day and being productive.
I think that's a good definition. I also think that time management is the actions that people should take to properly be able to organize and schedule different parts of their lives. So, like, not just with academics, but also maintaining a social life or maybe even throwing a job into the mix just for fun.
Exactly. And to some people, it's like, we all get the same 24 hours a day. But why do some people seem to be more productive or achieve more? And that's because they just have better time management than you do. So, get your money up, not your funny up. Time management helps with productivity, efficiency, less stress, a better professionalism, increased chances of advancement, and more opportunities to achieve your life career goals.
I think that is very wise. I also think that time management is a way for you to properly be able to live a true adult life, because like we as college students are just expected to we're kind of just like thrown into the adult world and just expected to be able to figure it out, which it's hard to do if you're not able to maintain and like keep a schedule. So
Exactly. It's like a mama bird throwing the baby bird out the nest first flight. It's rough going there for a bit, but in the end, we pull through. But, Benjamin, first question is, what's your most effective method of time management?
My most effective method of time management is just doing everything right when I first get it, avoiding procrastination. Because procrastination is the biggest bad thing about time management. It kills time management.
I actually kind of disagree because, like, personally, I struggle to get things done in an appropriate amount of time unless I procrastinate and then it's right by the deadline. Like, usually I'll start doing stuff that's due, like, a couple days before the actual due date, but that's also partly because I'm pretty sure ADHD is a factor in that. But, like, I mean, we didn't really even start thinking about time management until our one day in our GS 100 university experience class. Like, since you're in the honors and we're not, did they talk about time management in the honors, or is it just, like...
I'm going to be 100% honest. I am pretty sure they did talk about time management in my GS 100 honors class, but I was not paying attention. I just simply was not, because I am not good with time management. I have been thinking about time management for years now. It's always been in the back of my mind.
Right.
But while knowing what I need to do, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So what would you say personally makes it hard for you to manage your time?
Procrastination.
Caleb,
Procrastination.
what would you say for that question as well?
I think the biggest thing that prevents me from managing my time is just my life outside of class. You know, I have a job, I have friends. I want to spend as much time with friends as I can as possible. And then I also have to dedicate a lot of time to working. So, you know, the big thing is utilizing all of your time as best as possible. For me, what that looks like, because I work a work-study job, is doing homework during work study so that when I'm not working, all that other time can be dedicated to hanging out with friends. And then, you know, that's the big thing. That was my issue last year, is I wouldn't do work so that I could hang out with friends. But then I couldn't enjoy the time hanging out with friends because I was stressing about doing homework.
I feel like it's a very big factor in our stress as college students is time management or lack thereof. Like, I know especially, like, during finals week and exams, everyone is kind of panicking because they're like, holy crap, it's all hitting in really fast because of the procrastination.
And I agree with that. And I think the two biggest killers of time management is trying to find a perfect balance between the social life and procrastination. And I will admit, I struggle with both of them heavily.
I do too. And, like, some of the biggest things that I think that we as college students should learn for the next couple years, because we're all within, like, the opening years of our degrees. Like, we're all freshmen except for Caleb, who's a sophomore. And I think, like, one of the biggest things that we need to be learning about time management is, like, how to maintain our stress levels to not be exceedingly high while still being able to, like, enjoy the joys that come with college. So, like, according to trystressmanagement.com, like, around exam time, we really need to be making sure that we're getting enough sleep and, like, taking care of ourselves while still being able to prepare for our exams so that way we actually pass and we can get the credit, and then that doesn't build a stress snowball catalytic bomb of, like, stressing out to the point where you're dropping out because you don't think you can finish getting your degree just because you didn't do a couple assignments.
And talking about stress and time management, one thing people overlook is physical health and maintaining a proper homeostasis in your body. Like drinking water. Lots of people overlook that fact, but also being college students, drinking alcohol also majors like heavily in this. So when you're hangover the next day,
Those are that are of age, though. Like, we wouldn't know anything about that because we're just 18-year-olds.
well, let's bear the facts here for a
Yeah, some
quick
people are
minute.
going to do it no matter what.
No matter what, college students drink. And we just need to say that drinking during the week does not help you out. Alright? Because hangovers will kill you and your time management.
Because you're not properly managing your time at night when you should be getting sleep, so that way you're well rested for your classes.
Yeah, your cognitive functions aren't working properly. Also eating, which is something college students suffer with. Like a bowl of ramen and leftover pizza is not going to help you get through your day. It needs some meals, vitamins, carbs, sugars, proteins, fats, lipids, everything in there.
Yeah, right. I totally agree. So, like, what have you guys found personally that makes it hard to manage time or things that cause distractions for you guys? Like, for me, I know one major thing is hanging out with my friends. Like, there are some people that, like, one of my friends will do her homework while she's in the room with us, but, like, you're still not really connected entirely. So, like, I don't know, just what are some of the things that you guys found make it hard to manage time?
I think a big thing is that time with friends, and that's why you have to set aside that time and separate social life and homework life and put an emphasis on homework life. And you can still work on homework with friends,
Right.
but the reason you set up that separate time is because you know I'm going to be working less effectively if I'm trying to do homework with friends. Another big thing for me is video games. The way I've learned to cut that out is by prioritizing what's more important to me, friends or video games. So when I have that free time of I'm not working on homework and I'm not in class, I've prioritized friends over the video games. Because friends, I can cut myself off at a certain point and say, hey, time to do some work, versus video games, especially with ADHD and having major time blindness, 2, 3, 4 hours can go by without even realizing it. And so then at that point, that's 2, 3 hours that you've lost that you could have been getting work done.
Right.
The biggest thing for me that is a struggle is just lack of motivation. For classes that are directly involved in my major, I have motivation, but we are required to do gen eds, and I simply have no motivation for gen eds because they are not what I'm interested in. They're just something I'm forced to do. So lack of motivation is my biggest thing, because if I'm not motivated, I'm not going to do my work, which then comes back to bite me in the ass later on.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
I completely agree with Benjamin here.
I do too.
Lack of motivation in certain classes. Like, for instance, I changed my major. So all the classes I'm doing this semester has nothing to do with me. And so I'm really trying to force myself to go to each class and do my work and try to hold on and pass them so I can actually go the next semester, which I actually have classes I'm going to enjoy. Also, my sheer hate for school. I don't like school. I don't like doing school. I'm only doing it to get a degree, to get a good job, and to have money. But yeah, that's one of my biggest factors in that.
Right. Yeah. That's a big thing too, is if you're not interested in what you're doing, then you're not going to be willing to do that work. I guess also one of my biggest struggles is just maintaining, because I don't know about you guys, but every year I buy a planner and I start out with the intentions at the beginning of the year that I'm going to stick to the planner, keep filling it out, making sure that I'm getting all of my deadlines and due dates marked down. And then about a month goes by, and then my motivation to keep doing that is just completely shot. And then I'm also now at the point where I'll just start making to-do lists on sticky notes, because I find that really effective for me, since it's right there on my computer. I can see exactly what I need to do, and the ability to be able to cross it off the list just really is helpful for me. So, what do you guys try to do to manage, what methods of time management have you found help you in that regard?
Well, I've tried to use planners, but ADHD and I lose them very easily. It's kind of hard to follow them. So what I've been doing recently is just every day just go in detail and check every class. Anything I see coming up, I just try to do it as soon as possible, or write notes in my phone to kind of remind me what I have to do, because I check my phone more than anything, so I know I'm gonna look at it. But that's just how I kind of cope with that.
I think a big thing is trying to find what works for you. A big issue for me last year was I would just get in these slumps and I couldn't pull myself out of them. So the thing is finding a schedule that works for you, and then sticking to it. Because that's a big issue too, is you try something, it doesn't work for you, and so then you fall back into a slump because you're oh, that didn't work. So for me, this year, it's been very big of every single morning I get up at 7. I go get breakfast. Even if I'm not feeling hungry, I try to put something in my body just for fuel. And then, I go about my day, classes, work, and everything. And the big one for me is Tuesday, Thursdays. Tuesday, Thursdays, I kind of have the same thing, but my class is at 9:30 instead of 9. So I get up at 7, get dressed and everything, and then I utilize, rather than worry about the assignment for that class the rest of the week, I utilize the hour and a half that I have before class each morning to get work done for that class, because the workload isn't super heavy. The last point I'll make on that too is finding a credit load that works for you. For me personally, I was at 16 credits my first semester, 18 my second, and then this semester I was at 15 and it wasn't working. What I found works for me is a 12 credit load. For some people, 15 might be perfect. For others, 18 might be perfect. It just depends on what you're able to handle, how many classes you can handle all at once.
Right.
I agree with that completely. I personally am at 14 credits right now, but I'm finding myself with a lot of free time. And then in that free time, I'm finding that I enjoy having free time. So then when work actually does come up, I tend to procrastinate and do everything last second because I just want to extend the lots of free time that I have. So next semester, I'm going to be taking 18 credit hours in hopes that having less free time will encourage me to get my stuff done quicker so that I can have free time again, instead of all of my free time making me not want to do anything.
I think a counterpoint to that too is just learning to change up your mindset. Ben is saying, well, I enjoy free time, so I get in the habit of enjoying that free time, and then I push things back. But then, and that's where I was at last year as a first year. As a second year, I've learned to say, hey, I really enjoy my free time, so let me set aside an hour or two to do work so that I have another 2-3 hours of free time. It's finding that balance, and finding that balance can be really hard for some people. It was really hard for me. It's just picking and choosing where you're at.
Yeah, I think those are very good points. I also struggle with I enjoy the free time that I have now that I'm outside of my house. I'm outside of my parents' grasp. I'm able to make my own choices, and because of that, I'm choosing to put social life first rather than academics, in the sense of I put stuff off until as late as I possibly can and just try not to die from all of the stress that causes, which is actually really bad for college students. But I think that by getting better with time management, especially after we talked about this in our GS 100 class, is going to help to fix a lot of the problems that most college freshmen face.
Yeah, I agree. And with us coming close to our ending of the first semester, I feel like we kind of have to be better at time management, because it's only going to get harder from here as we get closer and closer to getting that degree, and also balancing more adult life into the mix of that, working and planning out internships and jobs and trying to get used to the actual adult life and outside of college. And it's going to be stressful, but with the proper knowledge and learning and advice and surrounding yourself with wise people, it can be very doable.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good place to stop at for this episode. I would like to say thank you again to Ben and Caleb for hopping in and giving their opinions about time management. And we'll see you guys later.
Sayonara.